Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. How everybody doing? This is the Coffee and Sports Empire in the morning. We start every morning talking about your hottest news, hottest topics, whether it's NBA, NFL, drafting conversation, everything, off-season stuff. Here, this your boy, Coach Dante, as your host, my co-host, Mo Better, and we got my guy first starting his debut on the morning show and starting his debut overall of the Empire Sports Network, starting with the brother. Nice to have you a part of this morning show, and look forward to working with you and all throughout whatever show you got going. My guy, Chris. How you doing, Chris, this morning?
Hey, happy to be here, guys. Happy to be talking sports with you.
Mo, how you doing, man?
Great, Coach. Always ready to go. Best way to start the week, the week, right? We're talking about sports.
Oh yeah, yes sir. What better way to do it with you guys on the panel? But I mean, we got a preview of Game 5, but we had the Game 4, and again, like we said, we did know better, but we know better. We starting to get the glimpse of the stronger team, and we can kind of sense on who the stronger team really is, and it's kind of showing the last two games in Miami. It got ugly in the second half in Game 3. Got ugly with Denver in the second half in Game 3. Now Game 4 started similar. Miami Heat. Every time Denver got on the run in the first half, Miami was able to come back. Miami took the lead by 4, 55-51. In the second quarter at halftime. That was the score going into halftime. But again, the third quarter comes back to bite them when they got a double-digit lead, and Denver never relinquished it. And you already know when Denver has a double-digit lead and the much talent they got on that squad, hey, it's not good for Miami. Miami, again, struggled from the three-point line, 8 of 25. That's not good enough to beat Miami. And we previewed this, Mo, in game number 3, going on this game. If Miami doesn't shoot well, they're going to get run up out of the gym by Denver. And that's just what happened the last 2 games. They didn't shoot well going into Miami. They were ran up out of the gym both times. They shot well in game 2. They were able to stick it down and come back and win the game. So they went 8 of 25. And guess what? Denver shot 50% from downtown, 14 of 28 from the 3-point line. Miami did out-rebound. The Denver Nuggets, but when you're making shots, you're not getting too many of those rebounds. They only out-rebounded them by 3. Denver had 26 assists, so what does that tell you? They moved the ball around a lot. They were moving the ball. The ball was going from Jamal Murray's hand to another hand. 8 turnovers. They protected the ball. Miami had 15 of those turnovers, but the problem is Miami have trouble scoring a lot. They have trouble scoring a lot, especially when Denver having gets them in those half-court sets. They rarely got playmakers. Outside of Bam and Jimmy Butler, they rarely got any type of playmakers, people that can break down the defense. Denver has a busload of them. And we start with the player of the game, probably Aaron Gordon, who had 27 points, who was on all night long. I mean, shot after shot, 3 after 3. Michael Porter Jr. went 4 for 10, 11 points. And we got Jokic, 23 and 12. He had 4 assists, but Jamal Murray had 15. But the problem is everybody else stepping up. You got Bruce Brown, 21, was killing in the fourth quarter, was going ballistic in the fourth quarter. But Chris, I'm gonna start with you, man. Give me your reaction of this game number 4.
When it comes to Miami, I mean, like you said, it's 3-point shooting. That is where Miami really only has the only advantage against the Nuggets in this series. Games 1 and 2, Miami got the shots. They made them game 2. They didn't necessarily make them all game 1, but they had the looks. And coming into Miami, the big question was, can they keep getting those quality looks? And not only can they get them, but are they going to make them? And the thought process was going in 1-1, if they keep getting those looks and they're knocking them down, all they got to do is get a split in Miami, and they're going to be in decent shape. The shots weren't there. The ones they had, they weren't making. And like you said, the cream rises to the top. They're both quality coach teams. This isn't a situation situation where it's Boston again, where Spo is just going to outcoach the other guy on the floor. He has someone over there that's equal to him. And they adjusted coming out of Denver with the 3-point looks, and you can see it. And it's funny because the box score doesn't even tell the full story, because these games are kind of close at half. But when you watch the games, you're kind of like, Denver's going to put their foot down in the third. And they did in both games. And it seems like at will, Denver has the ability to push the pace and kind of take over the game. And they're not doing it till the third quarter. But when you see that, you just know the difference is the talent. And that's what we saw in games 3 and 4. And I just don't see it changing in game 5.
Yeah, definitely excellent point right there. You did, like, third quarter, both times. You just see Miami just try to fight in. But like I said, I told Mo, it's kind of like a boxing matchup. When you're going against someone like a Mike Tyson that can knock you out, you can have one good round or a couple of good rounds in a flurry against him. But once he hits you with the one knockout punch, once he gets you with that one punch, you're down for the whole match. And that's kind of like how Denver was doing. Denver did it. They hit that one big run, and Miami both times in game number 3 and game 4, and Miami didn't respond, never to neither one of them. They got up to double digits in the second half. Miami couldn't respond, and Miami pretty much couldn't make a shot. And most of the shots they got were wide open. The problem is they wasn't making them. When you're not making them, the paint is not going to be open, and there's not much Miami could do when they're not making shots. When they're not making shots, they can't penetrate. Denver wasn't allowing the penetration. They played great defense. They were able to stay in front of them. When you're making those shots, now the paint becomes open, because now that forces a lot of bad closeouts. And on the Denver side of things, they get any shot they want. Miami tried to play zone on them. They tried to play zone on them. It don't work. It don't work because Denver is so much of a ball moving team. And one thing you got to do against the zone, you got to move it around. And Denver moves it around. They find open cuts to the rim, and guys do a really good job of cutting to the basket and getting open opportunities. So, Mo, your initial reaction to game number 4?
The better team won. I thought Denver flexed in game 3, and I thought they flexed again in game 4. For Miami, it's difficult for them to generate offense, especially against the way Denver's playing them defensively. You've got one guy that can create his own shot consistently, and that's Jimmy Butler. That's it. Bam can handle the ball well for a big man, but he really doesn't break you down. He's not that kind of player. And sometimes he can be a little cute with the ball. Like this past game 4, Bam had 7 or 8 of those 15 assists or 15 turnovers. He was really sloppy with the ball, really careless, and it hurt his team. You just watch Miami on offense, and everything's a grind. They don't get anything easy. And then you turn it around on the other side, and Denver not only can get whatever shot they want, when Miami plays good defense, Denver does the 2-man action with Murray and Jokic, and a good shot comes out of it. Game 4, they did a 3-man action. They attacked them by Murray turning the corner, passing it to Jokic lobbing it to Aaron Gordon on the move. A couple of times, Murray turned the corner and lobbed it, because they drop. Whenever Jokic moves, they drop. When he drops, Aaron Gordon cuts up. There's a lob or a dunk to be had every time down court. And when that doesn't happen, somebody standing open in the corner, if it's Bruce Brown, if it's Porter Jr., this is one of those times, at least this time in this postseason, where we've often said the more talented team, the better team, or the more talented team should win. Miami has been unconventional by beating more talented teams throughout the playoffs. Denver's a different monster because they're a more fundamentally sound team. They're a better coach team than any team Miami's faced. And Jokic is a problem that nobody's been able to solve.
But like I say, when I looked at Jokic, and I'm not trying to go back to the Embiid topic, but when I look at it's a difference between these two. When I look at Embiid, I think about Embiid. He's a scorer. So it's easy. When you're a scorer like that and you're a rebound, with Jokic, they both great rebounds. But when you're a scorer like Joel Embiid, it becomes more tough, easier to guard you in the playoffs. But when you're Jokic size, you can score and get guys involved, that make it more tougher. And plus, you can step out and shoot the three. That make it more tougher, and that actually soften up the defense. That's the difference between Joel Embiid and Jokic. That's the reason why Jokic always performs, because even when he's not making shots, he can create for other guys. And that's going to open up the floor for him, open up the scoring ability for him. You see him. The most important player we already know is Jamal Murray. You see how every time he come off the screen, they trap him. But that's good because you got another playmaker who's on the floor that can find other guys. And those lobs by Aaron Gordon was there all night long because they were jumping Jamal Murray. He was able to be a willing passer and get it to Jokic, who's another playmaker, and make the right decisions, and guys will capitalize on it. And that's the difference. That's when I looked at that, I'm like, that's the difference. Joel Embiid is a plain on scorer. So it's more tough. It's more easy to game plan for him and double him. It's not easy to double Jokic because he got so much of that great basketball IQ. You got guys cutting to the rim, and he's gonna find you. Get open, he's gonna find you. He's gonna find you easy. Now that's softened up the defense. Now he can score anytime he gets ready to when he does get to the post. So that's what I realized that when I watched these last two games. I'm saying, yeah, it's more tougher to stop Jokic because he sees the floor very well. And he gets when he doesn't have to impact the game on scoring alone. He can impact it defensively on the defensive boards, and he can impact it by setting up other guys. Joel Embiid can't do that. He just a plain back to the basket scorer, not an effective 3-point shooter. But again, when I watch those two, that's the main difference why Jokic is basically tougher to stop. So, Chris, any last? Go ahead, Mo. Go ahead.
He's unique too, Coach, because when he doesn't have the ball, the defense is so aware of him. When he moves, when he drops, there's a reaction. He's very similar. Think about this. He's a big man who gives you the same reaction that a Steph Curry does. You're so aware of him, it creates open opportunities for his teammates.
Yep. Chris, go ahead. Get it out.
There's no such thing as a Jokic bad game. It doesn't happen. Because the night where the shot isn't there, he does everything else for the team. He's still facilitating. He's still finding those passing lanes. He's still getting the rest of the team involved. So when you look at a shooter like a Steph or an Embiid or LeBron, they'll have their moments where they have bad games because the shot's not there. They don't have it from the free throw line. They're tired at the end of the game, whatever the case might be. You don't see that with Jokic because when he was gassed at the end of game one. Game one going into the fourth quarter, the guy had nothing left. So what did he do? He took a step back. He distributed. He ran the offense through him, but he wasn't he was the facilitator, not the scorer, and the team still thrived. That's what he does. So the version you're going to get of him is, are you going to get the guy that's going to put up 30? And if you don't get that guy, that's okay because he's going to put up 20. And then he's going to have the rebounds and he's going to have the assists and he's still going to dominate the game. You're not going to find a game this playoffs or in the regular season where you're like, man, that was a rough outing for him. He doesn't have them. He just doesn't have them.
Yep. Facts. So we're going to give our final predictions at the end of the show as we always do. But right now, it don't look good for Miami. Now you got to go to Denver again. And you got to try to get it done tonight, and extend the series. So we got to see what type of Miami Heat team that we're going to see tonight. Will we see a team that doesn't want to go home, or will we see Denver first ever NBA title, the NBA title in franchise history? That remains to be seen, but we'll get into that prediction tomorrow after the tail end of the show. So Toronto finally got a new coach. I don't know how to say his name. Someone can say his name. I definitely appreciate it. And someone can pronounce his name because I have no idea how to pronounce his name, but I think he is an assistant from the Memphis Grizzlies. He is one of the assistant coaches for the Memphis Grizzlies. Memphis Grizzlies got a good coaching staff over there. Taylor Jenkins is one of the most young and impressive coaches over there. He comes over there for that coaching tree. He will be coaching the Toronto Raptors. So the Toronto Raptors have found their guy. Mo, start with you first. Right move or what's your initial reaction to the new coaching hire?
I think it's a fine move. Look, I like I've said before, at some point we have to stop seeing these retread old coaches get new jobs.
Yeah.
I think it's good to put some new blood into the league. Good, great for the Raptors. To me, it also signals if you're going to bring in a young coach to start him out, there's a good chance that roster construction is going to get a huge overhaul. I don't think that core is going to remain together.
No, it's been done. Yeah, it's been done since the season was over. Yeah.
And we've talked about it. They've got a lot of guys that are very good players, but not any one guy that could be your best player to lead you down the pike. I don't think Siakam is the guy. I don't think Scotty Barnes, he's very good and he's still developing, but he's not ready to be the guy. OG Anunoby, he's very similar to Scotty Barnes. You don't need both of them. You don't need two of those. They have too many guys to do the same thing. They just need to break that up and start fresh.
Chris, go ahead. Give me your initial action of the new head coach.
I mean, the hire is all right. It's something that's going to blow your socks off at the end of the day. But I think the most important thing is, like Mo said, it's new blood. It's someone that, you're not retreading someone that's been with 8 different NBA teams. It's someone that's coming in with a fresh perspective. And at the end of the day, the question is going to be what changes are going to be made, because what they have now isn't going to get them more than what they got last season, which was what? Playoff, didn't win a playoff game. I think 41-41. They were 500 last year, right on the mark.
Yeah.
That's what this team is currently comprised. Sure, you might get a few more games out of them, but if you keep it the way it is now, you're not going to get what you're looking for. And this guy coming in, he has experience. He's been around the league since 2012. He's done some G League stuff. So it's hard. You don't know what you're going to get until you know what you're going to get. I mean, look at Boston. Boston thought that they had the guy coming into the playoffs, and then they're like, oh, maybe he's not the guy. He's decent. But that's what it is. It's a roll of the dice. You think you have the guy. You hope you have the guy. And it's a grind. There's a lot of nuance to it. And then when it comes to playoff basketball, gentlemen, as you guys know, it's a whole new ballgame. So hopefully they get their situation kind of straightened out. They get a new perspective on it. And then once they get rolling, we'll see where it takes them.
Definitely. I'm on the same page with you guys. This team is going to look totally different, after this year. You definitely not seeing Fred VanVleet with them next year. He already came out and said that. And plus he turned down the contract extension. And, it was, I think Nick Nurse kind of lost the locker room at the end of the season. He kind of lost the locker room at the tail end of the season as well. There's also been reported that he lost the locker room. OG Anunoby and Spicy P, a.k.a. Siakam, I think they're going to be moved in the offseason in a big deal. I just think this team is going to full rebuild mode. The only one that's going to be a part of this rebuilding team is Scotty Barnes. That's the only one that's going to be a part of this rebuild team. Everybody else is going to go. Everybody else is gone. So now if you want to get a young coach like that from Memphis, that's the coach you need to start with. For a rebuilding process, younger coach that can relate to the younger players in their locker room. Other than that, not nothing, to blow your socks off. But other than that, it's a solid hire for, it's a solid hire for a rebuilding team, a team that wants to kind of rebuild. It's an okay hire. It's an okay hire. And they got a hot draft. They pretty much, they the number 15. I think they in the teens in the draft this year. So not looking good for them, but hey, we'll see what's gonna go on with this team. Other than that, we have another topic. James Harden,
Chris is a big James Harden fan.
James
got Rockets jersey at Chris.
I'm gonna get Chris' reaction on this because I'm gonna guess I know where this is going. I'm gonna guess. James Harden, could he be a title contender? Could he be the favorite? Could he make a difference on the Phoenix Suns with Kevin Durant, Devin Booker? You got Coach Frank Vogel. You got rid of Chris Paul, which is most people expecting him to be traded, but they end up, releasing him. So would James Harden make sense for Phoenix for a title favorite? Chris, I'm gonna start it with you.
What year is this? Why are we having does James Harden make a team a title? Why is that conversation still happening? All right. James Harden, listen, no disrespect for the beard, but James Harden at this point in his career, he is a piece. He is not the center of anything. All right. So for people to be like, is adding James Harden to the mix going to put someone over the top? If they're not already on the precipice, then the answer is no. Now, I will say this. The Suns are a good team. They had a couple of issues defensively, I would argue, this past season. I don't know what James is going to do for that because my man is a wide open door on defense most nights. So I don't think he's going to be helping on that side of the ball. Offensively, sure. You add him to the mix with what you have going on there. Yes, obviously that is going to create some offensive firepower. But this whole conversation of James Harden being the final piece, he was that in with the Nets. How did that turn out? He was that with the 70s. Like, where was that moment where we had this conversation and we were actually right? He was going to be the final piece for a major championship team. I feel like that's just the thing that follows him around, and it never really comes to fruition. So, yes, he will make them better on offense, obviously, but is he going to be the piece that puts them over the edge? I think they need a different skill set than what Harden brings to the table. But hey, that's just me.
Hey, you said the right thing. Said the right things. Hey, Mo, go ahead. Give me your thoughts.
It's going to make them better. I mean, the bigger question is, are they going to win a title? They're not. But it's going to make them better. They're going to be a top 2 or 3 seed in the West, probably one of the top 3 offenses in the West. When you put James Harden, even as a facilitator with Booker, with KD, there's going to be a problem. That's going to be hard to stop just because of his ability to still penetrate, still find other guys, not to mention what Booker and KD can do off the dribble and in the mid-range. They're going to be a high-scoring, tough offensive combination to stop in the regular season. My question is, and this isn't just for James Harden, what will Phoenix be in the postseason? What will they look like when it matters most, when teams lock down, when they shorten the floor and they get into your space? I don't think they're going to win a title. I think they're going to be really good, maybe get out of the second round, but they're not. I don't think they're going to win a title. People don't want to say this, but I'll say this. Kevin Durant is still a great player, but I think he's taken a step back. I think he's lost a step. The last 2 postseasons, guys are locking him down. They're getting into him. He's not nearly as efficient. And look, when they let them play in the playoffs, and they did let them play in the playoffs, he struggles against any kind of physical play. He always has. So I don't think that Phoenix is set to get better. I think it's smoke and mirrors. They're going to look great in the regular season, and people are going to get really excited and talk about what they could do, and they're going to get to the playoffs, and their season is going to end.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, but it's kind of a defense for Devin Booker and Kevin Durant for me on this side of things, and here is why. They're going to get better. They're definitely going to get better. I wasn't sold on winning the championship any damn way coming into the after the All-Star break. I already made my decision. Denver was going to make the finals. Denver was going to make the finals, and I had Boston literally in the finals. But when Miami Heat started getting hot, when Miami Heat beat Milwaukee, when Miami Heat pretty much beat Milwaukee, I said this team finna get back to the damn Eastern Conference Finals. This team finna get back to the Eastern Conference Finals. Soon as they beat Milwaukee, we looking at a Miami Heat team that coming in this season struggling. Jimmy Butler frustrated, said he tired of losing. The moment he makes that comment, the team gets in the playoffs. They lose a play-in tournament game. They come back. They beat Chicago. They dominate Giannis, them 4-1. You can argue Giannis was hurt, but again, he was still on the court. He only missed 1 game, I believe. Just that 1 game, that was it. And all the other games he played in, pretty much. In game 1, they did get hurt, and they was getting beat anyway. They were getting whooped anyway. So other than that, once they beat them, then, New York supposed to be more time. Once they beat New York, I'll say, yeah, that can be a dangerous series versus Boston. They beat Boston. So other than that, for Phoenix, it's hard to play. It is hard to play well when you don't have when you trade away your damn depth that you had anyway. It is hard. Kevin Durant had to play 39 minutes. Devin Booker had to play 38. That's exhausting to play every game. Now you got by against the Clippers because Kawhi Leonard was out. Kawhi Leonard was out, and Paul George was out. You barely got Body out. You barely got Body out. And Russell Westbrook was on a rampage the last few games of that series. So you barely got by on that one because Kevin Durant then was able to outscore a Clippers team that didn't really have their best two stars. So if they had their best two stars, you can argue they could have won that series. They could have actually won to beat Kevin Durant and them in that series. But other than that, they didn't literally have nobody that can trust on the bench. I mean, TJ Warren, you couldn't trust him coming off the bench. Cameron Payne he plays him when you want to play him. DeAndre Ayton not playing soft, playing like a pony out there, playing soft. Now you got to all of a sudden you got to bench him. You got to bench him because he's not playing well. And like I say, yes, the deficiency did go down. They did go down. They didn't play well, and they deserve to get criticism. But also, when you look at the roster, and when you look at the bench wasn't giving you anything, and they couldn't keep up with Denver because, hey, Kevin Durant had to play 38 minutes. Devin Booker had to play 40 minutes a night for them to even win, for them to even try to even stay in a game. So that plays into the less efficient and people knowing how to stop them. Oh, they know, hey, coming in this game, you stop Devin Booker and Kevin Durant, you hold them under 40, then we good. Then we got a deeper bench than them. Denver, we got a deeper bench than them. We can go to multiple guys. We can play them. Phoenix, they can't go to all those guys. You got basically a six-man rotation. But Devin Booker and Kevin Durant, they have to try to do everything. But now for the main thing about Phoenix, they need to get some bench guys, man. They need depth on this team. They need depth on that bench, period. And anyway, defenders. Yes. And they traded them away. They traded them both away to the Brooklyn Nets. They traded the players away to the Brooklyn Nets just to go out and get Kevin Durant. So when you look at their depth, they're not good. And James Harden, if he does decide to go to Phoenix, it's not going to change that. It's not going to really change that. Because if the Clippers get healthy, like I said, I think they're a borderline scary team, but they seem like they're not going to never be healthy the way Kawhi Leonard and Paul George is. Seem like they would never be healthy, so you can't really depend on them. Anyway, Minnesota, they're not really good. They're not good at all. They're not good at all. And I knew that when they made that trade, they still weren't going to be a good team.
Coach, they're not going to be good for the next decade after that.
They never was that good when they got Rudy Gobert. They never was going to be that good. I didn't think nothing was going to change. They're at best, with Anthony Edwards, with a superstar that he is, they're going to be a playing tournament team. But other than that, nothing more, nothing less. But Golden State got some issues. They got some issues. You can feel that franchise coming apart. So if Phoenix does get the right pieces, they can run the table. But Denver's still down, though. That's the one thing about it. Denver's still going to be down. They're not going to go anywhere. But other than that, that was the topic for that. Any last things on this topic that anybody want to talk about?
I'll just say that you're right. We agree that Phoenix needs to they need depth. They have no bench depth, and they need wing defenders. The problem is we get to the offseason, and it becomes an arms race. They're going to be competing with Golden State, the Lakers, the Celtics, the Heat, and others for some of the same players. They're all going after the same guys, and that's the problem. How attractive is it to go out and play with Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and James Harden? James Harden's a great player, but I don't know that he can attract other great players at this stage of his career.
Definitely. So, we do got the next topic, and I believe this is about Saquon Barkley. Will he sign? Will he resign? Will he resign with the Giants? Or should the Giants not? What should the Giants do? Should they sign him, or should they not pay him? And Chris, I'm gonna start this subject with you.
So Saquon comes out. He's doing a kids football camp or something, whatever he does. And apparently we find out that he was offered a couple of deals during the season or right at the end of the season, something along those lines. I think the numbers being thrown out there are like 10 million or 12 million. And one offer was around 13 or 14. He got all upset that people are talking about his salary and what he turned down and how he's being painted or whatnot. Let me just say this. If he was offered 14 million a year by the New York Giants and he didn't take it, I don't know what he's doing, because I understand the whole value. And I think that's what he's looking at. I think he's looking at it as, listen, guys, I know who the quarterback is. I know what he can do, and I know what he cannot do. And I know that you need a running game. And I know that I am one of the best at it currently, and I want to be paid accordingly. And I get that. But at the same time, it's such a struggle because you look at the position of running back in the league, and it's just not valued the way it was 15 years ago. So he's fighting an uphill battle. But I understand his point of view two ways. One, you want to keep it in-house. I wouldn't like it very much either if the Giants were going around saying, hey, we offered him $14 million. He said he wasn't want it. Like, I get that. That's a bad look on him. Totally understand it. I would feel a certain way too. And I understand his point of view of you're not going to be winning anything if Danny Dimes is the one you're putting the franchises back on. You're not doing that. He had good numbers last season, but so did I. And you need to roll with me if you want the success that we had last season. I get it. I think they're going to work it out. The Giants are, generally speaking, a well-run franchise. They don't make too many of those boneheaded mistakes. This isn't a Cleveland or a Houston or anything along those lines. So I think they're going to figure it out. I think cooler heads are going to prevail. The Giants know what they have in their quarterback situation. They know what they need to do moving forward, and they have a good coach. And that coach wants a running game, something that he never had in Buffalo. So he sees the value of what Saquon brings to the table. And keep in mind, Saquon's only 26, I think is going to be his 26-year-old season. So he's not pushing that 30-year-old mark yet. Sign him to a 3-year deal, and you can work it out. So it's basically a 2-year deal. Pay him up front, and then see where we are in a couple of seasons. I get it. Backs start breaking down around 29 or 30. He still has a handful of good years left in him. So pay the man, let him take the ball, and see what can happen for the next couple of seasons. Because if you don't pay him and he walks, you're putting yourself in a bigger hole.
All right, Mo, go ahead and get it out.
He's their best offensive player. He might be their best player, but he's definitely their best offensive player. You can tell me how the running back position has been devalued. I understand that. But it makes sense if your quarterback is an elite quarterback or a franchise quarterback. Daniel Jones is, to me, he's a jag. He's just another guy. I don't think Daniel Jones is one of the top 10 quarterbacks in his own conference, let alone the league. What he is he's a terrific athlete. He's capable of making plays, but he's not the kind of quarterback that can come up to the line of scrimmage, read the defense, and throw a receiver open. That's not what he does. Some of the Giants' best plays are he drops back, people go downfield, and then he takes off running. He's actually their second leading rusher. He's a running back with a really good arm. But Saquon is one of the best running backs, and he's also effective out the backfield. So the devalue, I understand the devalue line, but that doesn't apply with this particular team. Your quarterback is Joe Average. If you took out Daniel Jones and put in another average quarterback and the team remained the same, they would be just as good. I just think that they set the bar so low for Daniel Jones that when he had a little bit of success, the Giants said, this guy's a franchise quarterback. I just don't see it. So I think they need to pay Saquon. Look, look, I'm with Chris. If they offered him $14 million, I don't know what his problem is. He need to jump on that. He need to take that. He need to take that. You're a 26-year-old running back. You're probably going to carry the ball 250 times, not to mention how many times you catch the ball at the backfield. You probably got about 3 years at a really high level before your body starts breaking. Now take that $14 million, man, and do your thing. But I understand his frustration because of who his quarterback is and what he got.
Yep. To me, the Giants got more holes too. Then actually their receiving core actually not that really good. Their receiving core not all that good either. So Daniel Jones is not starting. He's a starting quarterback. He's not a franchise quarterback. Not a franchise quarterback at all. I don't know. They gave him the money. But you know, you always want to appease your quarterback for some reason like that. And this is the day. This is the day of the age we in. Hey, to see any type of brightness in the quarterback, and you see you can fix that quarterback, hey, you're going to take a gamble on them. And that's what the Giants did. You know, Brian Daboll came in, did a hell of a job with Daniel Jones. But that when you're running the ball that well, and when you're running back getting over about 1,300 yards, a season, that helps too. That will help keep your turnovers down too. That will put some zone read in it too and help you game out too. Help you get rushing touchdown too. That make it easier for the wide receivers to get open as well. But other than that, you seen what the Eagles did. They brought everything back down to earth. They stopped the running game. Hey, Daniel Jones, come out here and beat us. Wide receivers get open. Wide receivers couldn't get open, or he couldn't throw anybody open. So other than that, when times get tough for them, hey, pipes will start breaking for the New York Giants. But I still think they're going to be a fine team. They're going to be a fine team. They're going to be probably a 9-win team. Probably compete for a wild card. They're good enough for that. But most of that process is basically the running game. Pretty much. The defense is starting to come along, like the defense, like the secondary, how the secondary is coming along and how the defensive line is starting to look. But it's a lot of holes still on the offensive side, and you still would question Daniel Jones. If Saquon Barkley, knock on wood, you're going to need that running back in case anything happened to him. If the ball in the hands of Daniel Jones and he have to beat you, I don't believe he's good enough to beat you in the full game I don't believe he's good enough to beat you. I just don't believe he's good enough to beat you if you have to put the game on him. If you just have to drop back and put the game on him, it's not a Justin Herbert. It's not a Patrick Mahomes. Or nothing. Now, I believe somehow, I know Chris is going to like this because he is a Miami fan. I think he is a Miami Dolphins fan. Tua can beat you at some point. Tua can beat you. He can beat you. He showed some signs that he can do it. He showed signs that he can beat you. Problem was the concussions last year. And I don't think he should have been on the field after the second concussion last year. I think kind of hindered him a little bit, but he can. He showed signs he can beat you. Now that he got weapons, he can definitely beat you. And Daniel Jones, I don't think he could do it. I do think he's a starting quarterback. He's just not a high paid quarterback. He's not a franchise quarterback. But his talent, his upside, that's what gets coaches drawn in. When you got good upside, that's what get them kind of drawn in to you. So other than that, Giants pay Saquon Barkley, give him his money. Saquon Barkley, take the $14 million. Please take the $14 million, sir. Help out your team. Help out your team. Come on now. You trying to win. You already proved that you're one of at least the top 6, top 5 backs in the NFL. You already proven that. Do whatever it takes to help your team. I don't want you to be another Le'Veon Bell when he made a mistake and took that damn year off. And that damn year he took off hurt him a lot because he was the best back in the league at that time. And he took that year out, and it kind of held him back a lot. Then he ended up settling for going to the wrong damn team against the New York Jets because nobody didn't want to pay him after he took the damn year off. So his ego got involved into that point. So other than that, Saquon Barkley, work out a deal with him. So other than that, we got DeAndre Hopkins. Mo, is he a fit for New England? He's visiting New England. He got many more visits, but is he a fit in New England? Do you think?
I mean, because he's one of the kind of receivers that can catch the ball with guys hanging all over him, and he goes out and he attacks the ball. He's a fit anywhere to me because he might not be the biggest deep threat, but he moves the chains no matter what. And in the red zone, a guy like D-Hop, he's a beast. It's not that does he fit New England. Does New England fit him because of their current quarterback situation? If I were a star receiver, I got to look at who my quarterback's going to be. If you go into New England, you're going to catch a lot of medicine balls. You're going to get hit a lot. You're going to get hit a lot. You're probably going to average around 11 yards per catch because there's going to be a lot of short. If I'm a receiver, I'm not going to New England to get beat up. There's no point in that. And he's not a young receiver. He's a veteran. Like you want to go somewhere, even if you got to take a little bit of less money, be smarter. Go somewhere where there's a quarterback that can set you up for success, that can throw you open. Like there's got to be a balance. If you go to one of those teams with a quarterback that just throw medicine balls, you're gonna be off the field more time than not. I just think everybody keeps saying, is he a fit for New England? I'm like, why would he want to go there? Like that, with that quarterback situation, that's where receivers' careers go to die.
Chris, go ahead.
The only way he's a fit for New England is if they overpay him. And they might throw more money at him than another team is willing to throw at him. I mean, look at the money they gave to Juju. I don't know what they were giving that boy that money for.
Oh, no, that's
he
disgusting.
has a semi-decent season with Patrick Mahomes, and now all of a sudden he's worth – come on now. So, I mean, yeah, he might be a fit if they pay him what he wants to be paid because he still wants to be paid the money, and I get it. But you want to go play for the fourth best team in a division with the fourth best quarterback in a division? Like, and yeah, I'm a Dolphin fan. Fine. Let's say he's the third best quarterback in the division. Okay, that's not much better. You're not – it's not a Super Bowl team. You're not going to New England looking at it like we did with Tom Brady being like, we're going to win the division, and then we'll see what happens in the playoffs. You're going to New England saying, can we even make the playoffs? That's where you want to go? And I just don't see it. D-Hop, he's not an idiot. He's going to be looking – he wants to get paid, obviously, but also he wants to win. He did the whole – losing thing in Arizona. Look, come on. That's what he just came from. He's not going to go sign up for that again. And that's what you're getting into if you're going to the Patriots. The offense is not their forte. They are a defensive team in a division that is now completely an offensive division with the Dolphins and Mike McDaniels, Aaron Rodgers, and Josh Allen. So you're going in there with offenses that you can't compete with. And now you're just hoping that your defense is going to bottle him up. It just doesn't make sense for him.
Yep, definitely. And like I say, you right. He ain't the third best quarterback. He's the last quarterback in this division. He's the fourth quarterback in this division. Aaron Rodgers is still better at this point. He's still a better quarterback. I would say he's still a better quarterback than Matt Jones, pretty much. We ain't got to even talk about Tua. Tua is better. Tua definitely is a better quarterback than Matt Jones. That I think. So I think at best, Matt Jones is a game manager. At best is he's a game manager. That's just what he is. Nothing wrong with that. I don't mind you being a game manager and not putting, as long as you're not putting the ball in harm's way. But when we talking about DeAndre Hopkins, though, no, he did say he want to win. He did say he want to win. Tennessee doesn't give you an opportunity to win. Like I say, I'm a diehard Houston fan. We don't give you a best opportunity to win. So why not go to Kansas City Chiefs? You got the best quarterback in football. I know. People don't want to keep saying the Chiefs. They trying to get past the Chiefs. Hey, they give you the best. You got a Super Bowl, two-time Super Bowl winning quarterback, 4 straight AFC championships. Hey, you become the number one receiver immediately. Well, any team you go to out of this list that he's visiting, he's a number one wideout. He's going to be a number one wideout. He's going to be the number one. Still 30. He's 30 years old, but he still plays like you saw how he played last year in Arizona with less games. Still got over 800 yards, 700 yards. So he still is a great wide receiver. But he's talking about winning games. We're talking about winning, not just getting paid. We're talking about winning games. A team that's going to give you a best shot to win, a quarterback that's going to put the ball in great hands, in your hands, get you the ball. You're talking about Justin Herbert. You're talking about Pat Mahomes or something like that.
Or Joe Burrow, even though Cincinnati doesn't need
Joe Burrow, but they loaded over there, though. They loaded. Right. They already got the receiving core and the tight end over there. So, again, I will say the Kansas City Chiefs, even Buffalo. Buffalo would be a good spot. Buffalo would be an excellent spot for him to win. As Stephon Diggs been frustrated. He's frustrated. You can tell he's getting to a breaking point. So now why not go over there, choose out of one of those 3 teams where hey, I'm going to be in a playoff race. We're going to go deep in the playoffs. I got 3 quarterbacks that can get me the ball. They can give me the ball. It's not all about the money, but it's all about winning. That's what he said. That's what came out of his mouth. He listed his 5 teams that he wanted to go to. So why not? Go ahead, Mo.
And Coach, I still think, he's a great player. Great players have egos. So it's about winning, but he still wants to put up numbers. He still wants to go to Pro Bowls. He wants to be all pro. So it doesn't make sense to go to the Patriots. He needs to go to, like you said, where they have a quarterback that can get him the ball and he can have 1,200, 1,300 receiving yards, 10 or 11 touchdowns, 90 catches, and so on. You're not going to get that with the Patriots. If he catches 90 balls with the Patriots, it's going to be the hardest 1,000 yards he ever got.
And like I say, he talking about he still can put up performance. But what if winning? That's when winning comes forward. That's when winning comes forward. When you go to Patrick Mahomes, you're gonna get 1,000 yards. You're gonna get 1,100 yards. You got Kadarius Toney over there, who's coming into his own. Came in his own last year. You got Travis Kelce that will take the double team pretty much off him. That will take the double team pretty much off him. You got a 7-round running back who had a great season. Now Isaiah Pacheco over there. You got plenty of offense over there, and you got the best quarterback in the game of football. So
and you got Andy Reid.
And you got Andy Reid, one of the best play callers in our game. So again, I think that's a solid set. But any one of those 3, the Chargers, the Chiefs, the Bills, I think those are great 3 options right there for them. Right there. Win. If you talk about winning and also putting up numbers, that I think those are the 3 teams the Hop just really need to consider, man. Really need to consider at this point stage of his career. And he's 30 years old. So he's getting up in age pretty much, but he still can play like a top tier receiver in the league. So any other thoughts on him before we move on in the situation?
Don't go to Buffalo. We don't need you in Buffalo. All right.
So here we go. We got Miles Sanders came out with a comment. He said if the Eagles would have gave him the ball more, they would have won a Super Bowl. They probably would have won a Super Bowl, which is the only person that did run the ball a lot was Jalen Hurts, and it did work. But as far as the running game, official running game, they didn't have no success running the ball like that. But Chris, you agree with Miles Sanders?
Their running backs had 17 carries for 45 yards.
Yep.
What was he going to do different? He averaged, I think, 3 yards or 2.6 yards a carry. No back, average better. Flow of the game. The running game was through Hurts. The running game was through Hurts for most of the season. Great. You're with a new team. You got a little bravado. You made a little talking point. Good for you, sir. But stop it. Just stop.
Bo, what you got?
I'm with Chris. Look, you're with a new team and you're still feeling some type of way. You know what? Show and prove. Lead that new team to a Super Bowl and be the reason why they win a Super Bowl. Then you can talk all you want. But anybody that follows the Eagles, have seen the Eagles, Jalen Hurts is that offense. It begins and ends with Jalen Hurts. And he's terrific in the RPO. Actually, he makes it easier for a running back. If you can't be productive with that particular quarterback, the way they play, the problem's with you.
Hey, like I say, lead the Panthers to at least a playoff push. Lead the Panthers at least to a playoff push and have a great season on top of that. Stay healthy for once. Don't be off the field. Stay healthy for once. Stop fumbling the ball, but take the ball for one time. But get this team, if you can be the leading rusher and become pretty much a top 10 running back with the Carolina Panthers, help them make the playoffs, then hey, you can talk all day you want. You can talk all day you want. But other than that, that's all the conversation will be said right now. The running game was actually stopped outside of Jalen Hurts. Nobody couldn't run the ball. Nobody couldn't even run the ball. Gainwell couldn't run. He couldn't run. The Chiefs done a great job of just stopping the run, taking the running backs out of the game, period. They did a great job. Their pressure starting to amp up in the second half. We already seen Jalen Hurts was uncomfortable a little bit in that second half, and the Chiefs got some defensive stops, and they were able to go down the field consistently. And also special teams, Kadarius Toney, that punt return kind of killed him a lot. It killed the whole momentum of the game pretty much. They could put him up a couple of scores. After that, you knew the ball game was going to turn. And then that penalty, they got the ball back. The penalty came, in which it was clearly a holding penalty. A lot of people upset the way it was called in the game, but it was a holding penalty. We seen the grab, it was a holding penalty. But other than that,
man won a Super Bowl with no wide receivers.
With like I say, Nicole Hartman, who's probably a third slot receiver at best, or number 2 at best, not even close to a number 1. Juju Smith-Schuster, the last time he had a solid year was his rookie year. That was the last time he had a great year. Then he gets 900 yards with the Kansas City Chiefs. All of a sudden, the New England Patriots gave him that big contract. Give him that big contract all of a sudden. give them that big contract. They won a Super Bowl with 7 rookies. 7 rookies out there playing. The cornerbacks was two cornerbacks was rookies. They had a defensive line. Karlaftis was a rookie. Leo Chanel was a rookie linebacker. Scott Moore was a rookie wide receiver. Isaiah Pacheco was a rookie running back. Came and took Clyde Edwards-Helaire spot. They won with 7 rookies. But that also shows you how great Patrick Mahomes really is. With this team, with having Travis Kelce as a number 1 option as a tight end, that actually showed you how good Patrick Mahomes actually is as a quarterback and elevating other guys, elevate other people. So that just actually showed you how really great he is. And most people thought they were going to have a down year, but hey, Patrick Mahomes again showed you how great he is and winning the Super Bowl with at best number 2s, number 3s. At best, number 2s or number 3s. So other than that, Dalvin Cook. We got Dalvin Cook. It's landing spot.
You saw that? I just saw that, Kyle.
He said Juju.
Has Juju ever caught 4 touchdowns in his life? Come on now.
Juju might not
y'all gonna be going at it a lot. That's the AFC East guy. Y'all gonna be going at it a lot. We get to the point with Dalvin Cook landing spot. What's the best landing spot for Dalvin Cook? Mo, I'm gonna start with you.
I've said it before. Considering their current situation, I think the Cowboys would be a good fit for him. I like him with Dallas. I'm surprised that Philadelphia hasn't contacted him because with their offensive line, they've got one of the 3 best offensive line in football. And we've already talked about what Hurts does for the run game. Dalvin Cook, it's not like he got old suddenly. He's 27 and still has that burst, still can be effective out the backfield. So he has great value. I think that there are a lot of contenders that should be looking to bring in a Dalvin Cook. I'm just surprised he hasn't gotten contacted by more. But I like him with those 2 teams. I mean, you could name numerous teams that a Dalvin Cook can fit on. We just said Kansas City, he could play there too. He as a backup or as a starter, he could play there too. Dalvin Cook is that talented a player. I'm just surprised he hasn't gotten more looks at.
Chris, what do you think the best fit for Dalvin Cook?
You mean soon to be Miami Dolphin Dalvin Cook? Is that who we're talking about?
Go ahead.
We talking about the man that right after it was announced he was going to be released, he's posting Instagram photos of him in Miami Stadium. Right? The homegrown kid who's openly talked about playing in Miami. I mean, I'm just saying. Hey!
I wouldn't rule it out, man. Miami would be a good spot.
I like that.
I like
Miami. What they're missing is a running game, right? So if you look at the last 4 years, we'll say a lot of mediocrity in there. They made the playoffs this past season, but before that, it was pretty mediocre. 8-9 wins a season. That's pretty much how they roll. And the one thing missing throughout all of that, at the end of Tannehill's reign in Miami into Tua, we had a little bit of Ryan Fitzpatrick in there. It was a good time for everyone. But the one thing missing from all that was the running game. And it still is missing. Mostert is there. He's awesome. I like him a lot. Wilson is there. He's a good complimentary back. But they don't have the big name. They don't have the every down back. They don't have a power back. That's what Miami needs. They need someone who can catch the ball in the backfield. They need another weapon coming out of the backfield. And clearly there's mutual interest there. It's been basically said by his agent that there's mutual interest there. Everything he's done non-verbally shows that there's mutual interest there. I think what it comes down to for Cook is it's going to be money. Any team that he picks, he's going to pick a team where he thinks he can win. I think that Denver might be a dark horse here because Denver has the coach, they have the quarterback, they have the pieces on offense. They need a back. And I think Denver has more money to play with. And I think they might throw more money at Dalvin Cook. And that's not a bad place to land. If you're looking at Denver, you're not going to win the division out there with KC, but they could easily be a playoff team this year. So I think Denver is a team to look at. I think Dallas is potentially a team to look at, but I think he picked Miami or Denver over Dallas. But to your point, Mo, I don't know why he's not getting the looks he should be getting.
Yeah.
They tried to trade him before, and you can look at that and you can be like, well, why trade for someone who's just going to be released? I didn't think they were going to release him. I thought they were going to try to trade him, and if they couldn't, they were going to make it work because he's that talented. I think it's 4 straight seasons over 1,000 yards.
Yep.
The guy is good, and he's got the next 2 or 3 years where he's going to continue to be good before you see that running back drop off. So I don't know. I like Mattison, but he's not Dalvin Cook. So I don't know what Minnesota's doing personally. I think that this is going to hurt them a little bit on the back end. But as far as where Cook's going, I'm putting my money on Miami, but I think Denver is going to be a dark horse.
I like him and Mozart together. I like that combination because Mozart he's a breakaway back. He's that kind of guy. But if you've got the every down back with Cook, that's a deadly combination.
Yeah, I had a team that interest in mind. I think they can do for a running back as well. I think it could be a dark horse, a solid team. It could be a solid team, probably borderline still playoff team. Only thing I would question about this team is the quarterback situation. This is the really only team I question. Tampa Bay. I think Tampa Bay can definitely be a sleeper team that can get Dalvin Cook. I think they do need a running back. The only position you actually question is a quarterback position. They still do got Mike Evans, who still can get you 1,000 yards. Chris Godwin is still straight. Russell Gage kind of had a down year, but he still could be serviceable. I think their offense is good. The only question you would question the quarterback situation, and the quarterback situation is nasty right now. Is Baker Mayfield. You got Kyle Trask. That's the only question right there. And you go to Denver, he can be a solid fit. Russell Wilson. And if the receivers, goddamn, if they can stay healthy, stay on the damn field, they can give some people some problems. The problem is they're never on the field. Courtland Sutton is a possession, big body type of wide receiver. He's never on the field. Jerry Jeudy, off the field, got off the field issues and on field issues, injured all the time. He's in a bunch of trade rumors. Every time you talk trades, he's in there. KJ Hamler as well. And so much things went on with Denver last year. You had a coach who couldn't coach last year and who clearly showed he wasn't ready. He showed it from the first game. Against Seattle, you knew it was going to be a problem. You knew he wasn't ready for the head coaching position. And when you had to come in, when you had to bring another coach in to help you manage timeouts, because he'll use 3 timeouts in the first quarter. He'll use them all in the first quarter. You have to bring another coach in to help you manage timeout and situational football. That gets bad right there. But other than that, Sean Payton as well. Sean Payton as well is a big difference over there. But Miami, they can look borderline scary if they can keep Tua upright. And Tua was having Miami was literally unstoppable when they had him last year. Healthy, they were nearly unstoppable. Their offense was literally unstoppable. So Miami can be a great decision. It'll be a great decision. Hope he goes there. AFC East getting a little bit more interested, man. It gets a little more tight throughout the first 3 teams. Even Patriots ain't that bad of a team, but the problem is they're going to compete. They're going to always compete. But the problem is, hey, quarterback situation is inconsistent, and they were fighting between Matt Jones and Bailey Zappi throughout the whole year. But the AFC's getting stronger and stronger, getting more competitive.
The Patriots get the taste of their own medicine. They were in a division where Brady was not just the best quarterback, he was the only quarterback for years. I'm just being real. He was the only quarterback. It's not like there were great QB battles. It was Tom Brady versus a bunch of other guys, and they dominated the division, and now they're getting a taste of their own medicine. They don't have a quarterback, and everybody else has a quarterback. And now they're getting a taste of their own medicine, and chickens come home to roost.
Yep. Yes. Yeah. All right. So we got the next topic. Chris Paul. Hearing a lot of it's rumors. I don't pay attention. I don't listen to that. But other than that, I seen my boy Mo. I seen my boy Jonathan make a video yesterday, and he said hell no to Chris Paul. He don't want Chris Paul in LA. He don't want him in LA. He was on the radio. He had a temper tantrum yesterday. Y'all go get Paul heated up.
I didn't see it, but it's
hey, yo, that's just how he is. He was on the temper tantrum about Chris Paul. He said, hell no, don't break Chris Paul near LA. Bo, how would you feel about it, though? Chris Paul, him and LeBron James always wanted to play.
I don't want Chris Paul.
Go ahead, Mo, get it off.
I don't want this. Let me be clear. I don't want this current version of Chris Paul. So I'm talking about not just the skill set, what's left, but the body that comes with it, that's worn down, that can't stay healthy, and more importantly, almost always breaks down in the playoffs. Like, you get Chris Paul, you go through his 82-game season, and you're 10 games into the playoffs, and at some point, that body breaks down. I don't want Chris. We've already got an older team. I don't need another guy like that. Chris Paul right now, to me, is more of a name versus his game. I wouldn't want him on the Lakers. As a Laker fan, I want to be in a position to try to win a title. I just don't think Chris Paul is that guy. I don't think he can help you win a title. Not this version.
Chris, go ahead.
Why? Why? What are we doing? LeBron plays 50, 55 games a season. Anthony Davis is always injured. Yes, he had a great 30, 25 game stretch to close out the season into the playoffs. Chris Paul, he's brittle. You want your big three in LA to be three guys who can't stay on the floor? That's what it's going to be. You bring Chris Paul in, your best three players on the team are three guys who might give you 45 or 50 games a year, because LeBron's just old. He needs time off. He's not going to play 80 games a year. Davis is always hurt. Paul is always. What are you doing? And then you're going to cross your fingers when you get to the playoffs and just hope that all three are healthy and all three can make it through a play. It doesn't make sense. And that's not what LA needs. LA needs 3-point shooting. LA needs outside shooting. That's what they need. And Chris Paul's not giving you that. Yeah, he's still lethal from the mid-range, but even that has deteriorated. 3 years ago, Chris Paul, I'd listen to it. I'd be interested potentially. But a lot has happened in 3 years for Chris Paul, and it's not the move currently. Personally, I want to see Chris Paul in Boston. Boston needs someone with an IQ.
Agreed.
To run their offense on the floor, and Chris Paul can be that guy. Chris Paul can be the guy to go up there to Boston. He doesn't have to do a lot. He needs to see the floor. He needs to put their two stars in a position to make plays. That's what he is. And if he only plays 50 games during the regular season, that's all right, because you still have other people on the team that can make it happen. And Boston has proven they're a great regular season team. So they can be a great regular season team. It's the playoffs where Chris Paul would really be a benefit to Boston. But this LA, if he goes to LA, we clearly know who is running that team, and it's not anybody in the front office. So,
and why would he go? If you really think about it, LeBron's a ball dominant player. If you're a point guard and you go play with LeBron James, you don't actually get to play point guard. So what is Chris Paul going to do? Spot up in the corner and shoot threes? Like, it doesn't make sense from that standpoint. Boston, to me, is the perfect landing spot. Great call, Chris. Coach and I talked about this before. And in Boston, he doesn't have to play 30 minutes a game. Like, to me, you rest him. You save him. Chris Paul and Marcus Smart can split time at the point. Your value in getting Chris Paul, Chris, like you said, is going to be in the postseason. And that's when they need him. When it's late in the game, on a one-possession game, and you need to get a bucket, he will put everybody where they need to be and orchestrate that offense and get up a good shot.
Oh, man, I'm telling you, Chris, me and you going to be great. Me and you, like me and Mo, me and you going to be get along well, because I literally just said Boston last weekend on the last morning show. I literally just said Boston too. But I also had another team I threw in now, and Mo kind of know this team that I threw in now, the Miami Heat. I think Boston and Miami. I think Boston and Miami could be pretty good. And the reason I don't got to even point out the reasons you said Boston, because you already explained it, and you explained it just like I explained it last weekend. Miami, reason why I say Miami, if you can get to the finals with Jimmy Butler and just basically alone, that tells you all you need to know. But I'm not going to say Chris Paul can give them over the top, But I still think Miami need one more guy, one more legit player that they can play with. That just tell you they not far off. If they can get to Miami, if Miami can get down with Jimmy Butler and Bam out there into some unexpected draft picks, like they've been released and not been released all the time, and playing with just heart and effort, that tells you they don't need a lot. That tells you they really don't need a lot. And we don't know how Boston is going to look in a couple more years because Jaylen Brown, they expecting to pay Jaylen Brown and and Tatum $600 million. We don't know if Jaylen Brown is going to take that much. We don't know who they got to choose out of somebody. We got to figure they got to choose out of somebody. The Wizards going into a rebuild mode. They already came out and said they're going to go full rebuild. So Bradley Beal will be open for anybody who wants to get him. He will be open. You have the 76ers who's going to lose in the second round every single time they play. Every single time they play, they're not a threat to anybody in the Eastern Conference. So you got Milwaukee. They got to sign Giannis' teammates back. Middleton. They're going to sign Middleton. They got to sign Middleton and Brook Lopez, who's free agents this year. So the East, and we're not going to go on Atlanta. Atlanta is my most disappointing team this year. Making that trade for Dejounte Murray, not saying he didn't play bad. He played actually well. The problem is the locker room was the problem, and the coaching was the problem. Clearly was the problem. And Trae Young being a diva and get whatever you want. So that was pretty much the portion of the problem with the Atlanta Hawks. So really, you look at Miami, they can really, if they make the right moves, they can really be the second best team in the Eastern Conference, borderline the best. But I think Chris Paul helps this team because it gives them an actual point guard. I like Kyle Lowry. He's really good. He's stealing money. But at this point of his career, he's a bench player at this point, and he does good in his role. And he's accepted that. But Chris Paul gives you leadership. He fits right into the culture, another coach on the floor. And Pat Riley loved tough guys. He loved tough guys. And I think Chris Paul still can knock down a mid-range jump shot at this point of his career. But the only thing, you don't have to play him every game. Really, you don't have to play him every game. You need him in the playoffs. That's the only thing. You need him in the playoffs.
Coach, if he's on my team, he can get a lot of DMPs.
Yes. And at the end of the day, Miami, they need a veteran leader. They need a pure point guard, and I don't think they have a pure point guard. Benson, not a pure point guard. He's not a pure point guard. He's a shooter. He's not someone that's going to get guys involved. That's going to take pressure off Jimmy Butler and Bam from handling the ball, because those are only two guys that handle the ball consistently pretty much, that can really actually handle the ball pretty much and play make for them. And I think Chris Paul fits that mode. He fits the build of that team. In Boston, I didn't have to say nothing else. You took the words, right, what I said last week, and you put them down. And I think those two teams will fit like perfectly. I think Boston need a point guard because the main two ball handlers is Jaylen Brown and Tatum. I don't think they have – Smart can play point guard, but I don't think he is an actual point guard. And that's why I think Chris Paul comes in at. They point guard comes off the bench. Malcolm Brogdon comes off the bench. They point guard actually comes off the bench. But I think Chris Paul gets in there, gives them that starter role immediately, and he gives them a playmaker, and he gives them a lot of leadership. So Boston and Miami, for me, I think is a scary pick. Is a good pick for me. Any last questions on this? Got you. Shout out to everyone who came in the chat. Kyle in the building. You got Kyle in the building. The Hawks have a problem with Trae Young. Yeah, they have Trae Young has a problem. He is a problem of the Atlanta Hawks, and I think he's a diva. I think he was the diva of the team. Plus, he does need the ball in his hands a lot. So does Dejounte Murray. He does need the ball in his hand a lot to be effective. But problem went on in the locker room with the coaching. He literally got two coaches fired. That dude literally got two coaches fired and got two coaches up out of there. So we do have the game tonight. Before we get up out of here, we got to make our final predictions of the game tonight. So again, we got game number 5. If the Denver Nuggets win, they win their first ever championship, and the NBA season is closed. We get to the draft. We get to the free agency block. On that point, I think that's what is all fun about this. It's fun watching games, but also free agency. You want to watch a team, see what they're going to do, what team gets better. This is the fun part about it, just like the NFL offseason. Training camp coming up, draft, with it's in process right now. You got many camps going on right now. But at the end of the day, Chris, will Denver close it out tonight and win their first ever championship? Or will Miami stay alive and go back to Miami for Game 6?
I would love to see Miami stay alive. I would love to see some playoff Jimmy. I just like drama. I mean, I like good TV. I like series that go long. It's not going to happen. I think playoff Jimmy was snuffed out in Miami in games 3 and 4, and there just isn't enough help. There isn't enough talent on the Miami team. There isn't enough answers. I don't think they're going to see the shots they saw in games 1 and 2. I don't think there's enough adjustments that Spo can make to really make a difference. I think through the first 4 games of this series, what we've really seen outside of a really poorly played second half in game 2 by Denver, and really they didn't play great games 1 or games 2. You saw that they changed that in games 3 and 4. What we've seen is a Denver team that clearly is the better team. They're clearly the more talented team, but more importantly, they can put their foot on the pedal at any time, almost at will.
Yep.
And it seems like they're choosing to do that in the third quarter. They're playing competitive basketball for the most part in the first half. They're going into the halftime 5-6 point lead, and they come out in the third quarter and they're like, we're done here. We're going to step on your throats, and now we're going to walk away with it. And I think we're going to see much of the same in game 5. So I'm going to go Nuggets.
Mo?
Selfishly, as an NBA fan, I'd like to see Miami extend the series. Also, because I picked Miami because they kicked my ass all through the playoffs. And I finally said, you know what, Jimmy, you got me. And sure enough, Denver is the one team who should beat them because they're better and they possess the best player in basketball that is doing exactly what they're supposed to do. The problem for Miami is this. It's not just that Joker is unguardable. It's that Denver's second best player is outplaying Miami's 2 best players. Jamal Murray has outplayed Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo. That's their second best player, let alone what Joker does. And I'm with Chris. I know what I want to happen, but what I'm expecting to happen is the Denver Nuggets to win their first championship in the history of that franchise. That's what I think is going to happen.
We all came to the same conclusion. We realized, like Mo said, Mo used to say it, he knew better. He knew better throughout this whole playoff series, throughout this whole playoffs. It is funny. Both teams had a great path coming into this series. You had Denver. They've been the best team all year in the Western Conference. In their conference, they've been the best team all year, and you can argue in the NBA as well. The problem was nobody was still sold into playoffs. That was the problem. They end up winning their first round series. They end up winning their first round series, which it was a totally mismatch against Minnesota Timberwolves. It was a total mismatch. It don't look like they shouldn't even been in the playoffs, really. Should not have been in there. They tried to give game. It was funny. When I came on the morning show the next morning, you know what, Chris? Me and Mo was on there, and I laughed by 1,000 times because watching that series was kind of laughable in Minnesota. Watching Karl Anthony Towns not show up every single time he plays in the playoffs. When you get out, when you're supposed to be a top center in the NBA, and you get outplayed by Rockets Clint Capella, that's saying something right there. But also, the game number 3 that Anthony Edwards carried and won them a playoff game showed you he's a star right in and now. But they tried to get a game up. They literally tried to get a game up into Anthony Edwards' Belmont. They tried 3 times to get a game up. They tried it and they lost. They failed. They failed in game 5 eventually. Then you go back, Denver, tied. They look like they was going to walk through Phoenix. Phoenix comes back, but the combination Devin Booker and Kevin Durant, and we already know how that ended. Denver and closed it out very strong. Then you got the Lakers. You got the Lakers in Denver. What's a sweep, but it was a close sweep. It was a competitive sweep. It was a kind of a competitive sweep outside of game 3. Outside of game 3, it was a competitive sweep. Outside of the last game, it was a competitive sweep, you can say. But now you go to Miami side, they were out-talented in every way in every way, by no shape or form, they were out-talented. By every team they played, they were out-talented. But the problem is they were the better team. As far as team basketball, better team. It's a difference between talent and team. They were the better team. They were better coaching-wise. Not saying they were better talented-wise, because Milwaukee, they were better talent. New York, better talent. Boston, better talent. But as far as team and having those bunch of undrafted guys with motivation, diving on the floor, I'm talking about better team wise. They were better than each and everybody that they beat. For a team, not talent, they were better. But now this is the time right here. 3-1 talent may finally kick in, because no matter what Miami Heat tried to do to Denver guys got an answer for it. I mean, you want to play zone, Denver got an answer. You want to play man, they got an answer. You want to jump Jamal Murray off the screen, they got an answer for it, because you got that playmaker, you got the scorer, rebounder, Nikola Jokic. He's your answer to everything that Miami does try to do well. And it doesn't seem like whatever had, for us in game number 2, Miami made him a passer, made him a scorer. It worked. And nobody was making shots, and Miami was. Now the last two games, the problem was for Miami shot making. Got opportunities, they didn't make them. And Denver was able to run away with it. If this team cannot make open shots tonight, they will get run up out of the gym. Simple as that. I think this is a series that talent catching up to Miami right here. I think this is finally the series, and I think we will see Denver win this championship and get this series over with. And all of a sudden, we start the free agency block, we start the draft, we start the offseason in the NBA. And like I say, both of these teams came on great path. We can argue Miami don't supposed to be here, but it just tells you they one piece away. They're not far away. If they can get that with Jimmy Butler and Bam alone, they're not far away. Denver's still going to be there. Denver's still there. They're still going to be there. And even Jamal Murray not playing well. Bruce Brown playing well. KCP playing defense. Michael Porter playing well. You got other guys. Christian Braun got other guys playing well. You got other guys playing well. If Jimmy Butler not playing well, they're not winning the game. That's the difference. They're not winning the game. If Jimmy Butler's not playing well and they're not knocking down shots, Denver doesn't need to be good in shooting the ball. They don't need to be good in shooting the ball. But other than that, I think we will see Denver holding up that trophy tonight and winning a championship, and see Jokic celebrate tonight. So other than that, great morning show for the guys today. Shout out to Chris, the new member of the Empire Sports Network. Looking forward to working with him. The morning shows or whatever show he decides to have or anything. Mo, always a pleasure to work with Mo. Mo been the right-hand man since first day on the morning show. So, Mo, tell the people they can find you at, brother.
At the Empire, Sports Empire Network. You can check out the podcast, NBA Cypher episode coming out on Wednesday.
Chris, tell the people they can follow you at.
Still to come. I'm just launching all my stuff now, so I'll get you next time on that.
Gotcha. Y'all check them out. Just launching some stuff now, so we will definitely be in tune to that. Don't worry about it, man. Y'all know where to find me. Y'all gonna find me on my channel tonight. Me and Cool, I got a special guest. Me and Cool McCain. Cool McCain gonna be on that with me.
What about Dez?
Yep. Hey man, we still waiting. We still waiting on Dez, man. I'm still waiting on Dez, but me and Cool McCain, the Denver Nuggets fan, he will be joining me tonight for the play-by-play and on my channel, Coach Dante. So y'all come through, check it out. Check out me and Cool McCain, and let's see, man, with Denver win the title or with Miami stay alive and go to Miami. As your boy, Coach Dante, Mo, Chris, we see you guys later in the next one. So shout out to everybody. Have a good rest of your day.